I thought 20s were for figuring life out. Who to marry, what career to build, where to live, but here I am, seconds from 30, with no answers to any of those questions. Instead, I realized my 20s were about building strong foundations. So, let's walk through my bookstore. 20 books that will set you up for life. The first book is The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. I know you're trying so hard to get everything right, not to mess up, to finally become the best version of yourself. I know how exhausting that feels, because that was me. This book felt like taking a deep breath. This was the first time someone told me, you don't have to be perfect to be worthy. You just have to be human. It made me realize real change begins when you embrace compassion over shame. Second book is Take Back Your Brain by Cara Lowenthal. What if the voice in your head that's telling you that you cannot do these things isn't actually yours? Once at a gender equality workshop that I was facilitating at work, I asked whether the participants have experienced the downsides of gender inequality at work. Most of the participants said no. And when I asked who amongst them were holding themselves back because of fear of failure or fear of judgment, majority of the women put their hands up more than the men. And that's patriarchy. Not always visible in the policies, but also in our minds. This book made me realize the things my brain was telling me was complete bullshit. The next book is called More Than a Body by Lexley and Lindsay Kite. One day it hit me. I had never looked at my body with anything but shame. For years, I treated it as a decoration project, finding flaws, making plans. I lived almost outside of myself, looking in, always asking how I looked instead of how I felt. This book made me realize I don't have to believe I'm beautiful to be worthy. Beauty is not the rent we pay to exist in this world. Fourth book is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. We all know that annoying roommate in our minds. This book asks the revolutionary question: what if you're not the voice, but the one who hears it? Once you understand this, and really understand its implications, you realize that the foundations of the modern world are shaky. You have to build your own foundations and your own belief systems that will take you through life. The fifth book is called Quarter Life. Everyone says your 20s are the best years, but mine felt like watching a fun movie with a glitching background noise that you couldn't shut up. Even when I did everything right, the school, the job, I still felt empty. The book Quarter Life made me realize I wasn't failing individually, but I was part of a larger story of finding your authentic life as a young adult. The next book is Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach. This book is about what I call the not enoughness monster that makes us strive endlessly, but always turn up empty. Tara Brach showed me another way in this book, accepting ourselves and the moment before us fully. This is not about being passive. This is about being whole and taking action from that place. I guarantee you that if you read this book, it's impossible to turn up unchanged. The next book is called A Liberated Mind by Stephen Hayes. When I first started to consume self-help content, I assumed that I can achieve freedom by controlling my thoughts. It never worked. A liberated mind showed me another approach to work with thoughts that you cannot really control and they keep coming up, which is just to let them be. Just observe them and continue with your day. The next book is called The Upside of Uncertainty by Nathan and Susanna Furr. There are very few things our brains hate more than they hate uncertainty. And if I had to select a word that would describe 21st century, that will be exactly that, uncertainty. And we are taught to avoid it, to plan our way out of it. But instead of running, what if we show up differently? This book gave me tools to navigate the unknown with resilience and curiosity. The next book is Man's Search for Meaning. His book made me realize that the main undercurrent of our lives are not our search for happiness, but our need for meaning. And meaning is not something you select, like selecting a book out of a bookshelf. Meaning is something you create. The next book is called Active Hope by Joanna Macy. Okay, I know hope sounds naive in this today's world. While billionaires are putting celebrities into the space, we have an earth that is dying, multiplied with genocides and wars. But wait a second, this book changed my perspective about hope. Hope is not optimism. Hope is not saying that everything will be okay. It's not pretending. Hope is actually taking action. It's about showing up even when the outcome is not guaranteed. The next book is called Meditation for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman. There is a hidden reason why we are chasing all those productivity hacks, other than the economical system that we are living in. And that is our denial of our finitude. Denial of the fact that our time here is shockingly and insultingly short. If you live up to 80 years old, you will only have 4,000 weeks in your life. If you embrace that finitude, you would understand that life isn't about doing everything, but it's doing very few things that actually matters. The next book is called Tiny Experiments. The illusion of the linear life, where you make choices in your 20s that will set you up for success until your retirement, is completely gone. And in this uncertain world, 5-year plans do not make sense anymore. And I think this book nails the way forward. Tiny experiments. For example, a goal would be, I will get 1,000 subscribers in the next 6 months. But Tiny Experiment says, I will upload 1 video per week for the next 3 weeks, and then I will observe what I like and what I don't like and move forward with the information and the data that I gathered from that experiment. The only reason you're watching this video is because I made a pact with myself. After 2.5 years, I took this camera out of its package and hit record. The next book is Art of Impossible by Steven Kotler. Some books scream hustle, and this book whispers flow. Art of Impossible shows how to chase big goals without actually burning out. It does so by harnessing the science of curiosity, motivation, and your brain chemistry. It's kind of like finding the cheat code to ambition. The next book is Learning How to Learn by Barbara Oakley. School taught me what to learn. This book taught me how to learn. As someone who is taking a career break to self-educate myself, I know that lifelong learning will define this generation. The world that we were raised into does not exist anymore, and we don't know enough to evaluate what's coming next. Next book is The Art of Loving by Eric Fromm. As someone who is obsessed with romantic comedy movies, I grew up thinking love is something that you fall into. And this book showed me love is actually a practice. It's a discipline. And that shift changed everything. All the relationships that I have, including with myself. On that note, the next book is How to Be an Adult in Relationships by David Richo. No one teaches us how to love. It's always assumed that you will just meet someone and you will be in love and then it will work out. Well, in my 20s, I have fallen in love and it didn't work out. And I realized I could love the people in my life better. And this book showed me how. It talks about the 5 A's of love: attention, acceptance, appreciation, affection, and allowing. And reading this book made me realize where I was failing to show the love that I had for the people in my life. Even self-love became possible. Next book is Thinking in Systems. This book felt like putting on new glasses and finally seeing the hidden architecture of the world. It talks about the feedback loops and the tipping points and the incentives and how everything is connected. And once you see systems, you cannot unsee them. And it completely changes how you move through life. Next book is my favorite book of all times, Pathless Path by Paul Millard. I read Paul's book in 2021 and spent the next 4 years building a financial runway. So finally, I can take a career break. And yes, I'm living through it now. This book made me realize most of us are unconsciously following the default path of chasing title, status, and paycheck, only to realize at the end, none of it makes us feel alive. He talks about the alternative, pathless path. A life built not on getting ahead, but built on curiosity, experimentation, and intention to come alive. And reading this book felt completely holy, like it was universe's permission slip for me to finally come alive. Next book is Untamed by Glennon Doyle. For years, I thought the cages that I felt trapped in, the rules, and the expectations were real. But Glennon Doyle ripped that open and showed me that majority of the things that makes us feel small are not actually real, and they are just handed down scripts from society. Untamed ignited the fire in me and approved my discontents. It told me I'm not broken, I'm just ready to be set free. The next book is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. If Untamed was fire, Big Magic was a playful whispers from the universe. Elizabeth Gilbert showed me that creativity is not about brilliance or fearlessness, and it's not even about being a writer or an artist. It's about following your curiosity over your fear. And whenever I want to do something now in my life and fear tells me no, I just remind myself of this book and get my permission slip to follow my curiosities. So, no, the 20s didn't give me the answers that I was searching for, but they gave me something better. They gave me the foundation that I know will set me up for life. If you like this video, you might like my video about the one mindset shift that I had that completely changed my 20s.